Hey guys, and welcome back to our review of the French Grand Prix happened last weekend at Paul Ricard. As always, I'm joined by Charlie.
Hello.
And yeah, so let's get straight into it. What was your thought of the race?
Way more interesting than I thought it'd be.
Yeah,
I just think it's one of those tracks that you just look at it and you go, oh, it's one of these modern tracks that's got so much runoff that there's no penalty for running wide. And I just thought it would be an absolute procession of cars going round and round and round.
yeah.
But it was better than that. I think they put the extra high curbs in, which they were immediately complaining about in practice.
Mercedes alone, didn't it say it was costing them hundredths of a second or something if they went over there, but then it was doing damage to the car, and it's, well,
Yeah, and it was costing them
why you can't
tens
do
of
it.
thousands of pounds as well.
And so do you want to spend, you can do it if you want, you can get the time back, but you can also spend the money. It's kind of like, you
Yeah.
do the damage, but it's there for a reason so you don't get the time advantage.
I
I
think
don't really get that complaint.
I really hope that we get a weekend where we follow the FIA in the
Yeah.
in next year's Drive to Survive. Now that we're getting all these comms and stuff, I think that'll be really good.
I'm liking it how it kind of does. Is it Michael Massey kind of radios in and says, yeah, no, like basically politely shut up, which is quite nice, rather than what we normally get, just like this is what their reaction to it over the radio is, rather than like the FIA actual conversation. So you've got first corner, Verstappen, turn one was fine, turn two was the tailwind happened, which I thought, oh shit, obviously with this track, as it cost him it, obviously we know it didn't, but you see something like this track, not a lot of overtaking zones, not a lot of overtaking. I was thinking, oof, is this little slip up? Because obviously the tailwind was very strong, and the Red Bull itself, in the past has been a bit temperamental when it comes to balance and wind. What was your thought on?
Also, it's that thing of was he out of turn one? Because if you ran wide at turn one, you had to take the exit road. So there was
Yeah,
a
he wasn't,
little bit.
luckily.
Yeah, there was a little bit of, is he going to get a penalty for that and then get pushed back? But yeah, there was so much more overtaken than I thought. Like you saw Lando and Ricciardo as well,
Yeah.
flying up the grid throughout the race.
Well, they started P10 and P8, and then obviously finished fifth and sixth. So
Yeah, and at one point
good weekend for McLaren.
the commentators even said that, have they screwed Lando over here by making him go so long into the race before pitting? But when he did pit, he was still able to get past so many people. I think people weren't expecting that this weekend.
Yeah, definitely. Also, talking to people that came up from somewhere, obviously Lance Stroll coming up there, starting P19, coming up, finishing P10. Admittedly, I'm not going to say and put it out there that Lance Stroll's a good driver and people hate him too much, but there's a level to daddy's money around him to be able to put a competent thing in. Both Aston Martin's finishing P9, P10. He's keeping up with Seb Vettel. Like there's more meat to him than people actually, I think, give him credit for sometimes.
I agree.
Because you've got people like Mazepin who's sitting down there, finishing a couple seconds behind Mick in the same car, P20, P19. Okay, the car's crap, but you're still not fighting with your person, whereas Stroll's still up there with Vettel.
Yeah, I think as well, time will tell in terms of a paid seat, because you can only pay for the seat for so long, At the end of the day, like, their dads are businessmen. Yes, they want to see their kids being in Formula One, but they'll only pay for it for a certain amount
When
of
it's
time.
working.
Yeah. And I think Stroll was a good driver at the junior championships as well, whereas there's always been question marks about Mazepin, and not just as his driving, is, obviously his whole attitude and everything like that. We did see the first time that people actually kind of liked his character a bit at this race, because in Monaco he got told to make a change, didn't he? And he said to them, like, how am I meant to do this? This is impossible. I'm at Monaco because it's always constant turning. Whereas he got told to make a change this time. Was it this race or was it the race before? I think it was this race. I
can't remember.
Got told to make a change, and he was like, I can do it here. It's not Monaco. And it was just like changed into a different mode. But people liked that because it wasn't just him either crashing or complaining about
being responsive to the team.
Yeah,
whereas Mick crashed, not saying conveniently crashed, but got himself his highest grid place start, P15.
Well, he's just he's copying
his dad, like father, like son.
He's copying Leclerc as well, who's the last few races has been get it on P1 and then just put it in the wall.
But so going up the board, obviously a bit of a dodgy race for Ferrari, obviously.
Terrible race.
Charles Leclerc started P7, you've got Carlos starting in P5 and finishing 16th and 11th?
Yeah, just going backwards.
Points for Ferrari this week, which obviously helps people like Aston Martin and McLaren because that's who you're fighting with, and they're finishing not even in the points.
Yeah. I think
Like George Russell was finished higher than both Ferraris.
Yeah, he had a really good weekend, just sort of
Yeah.
quietly going through. I think the whole grid was, even come the end of the race, was still really congested. Like, if you look at who finished, so you look at Lando, was a minute and 4 seconds behind, and then Carlos Sainz down in 11th was, 35 seconds behind him, but normally those cars have all been lapped. So there was actually a fight going on to the line. Like, there's Gasly and Alonso.
Ricardo, Gasly, Alonso, 15, 16, 17, 19 for Vettel. Even that Vettel pushing on.
They were within a couple of seconds of each other across the line, which shows that this year there is a real big mid-table
battle in the midfield.
On.
Yeah,
and Ferrari have proven that they could go and put a car on pole. Then the next weekend they're out the points completely. Which, if you're a McLaren fan, you look at that and go, fantastic. If we just keep sticking them in 4th, 5th, occasionally a 3rd from either of the boys, they are going to finish 3rd in the constructors. And not only that, but you look at Norris and then you look at Bottas at the moment. Who would you rather have on your team? Someone that is massively in form in terms of confidence and stuff, or someone that sounds like they are massively fed up with their team? Like, I would rather be on Norris's side of of that garage. If that was a garage, I'm saying.
I'm just looking down the table now. There was last race, no Ferrari-powered car was higher than P11 on the whole finishing. Everything. So you've got the Haas is Ferrari-powered, you've got Alfa Romeo's Ferrari-powered. I mean, you've got Charles Leclerc splitting the Alphas at P16. Then you've got, obviously, Esteban on the Alfa P, Yuki in the Honda, but then you've got obviously George Mercedes-powered, then Carlos back again with Ferrari-power. So all the Ferrari cars finish P11 or lower, which he goes, is this engine again? They get engine issues potentially because certain tracks, the power tracks, the downforce tracks, is it then obviously what's happening there? Because a lot of the Haas parts, all the wetted parts are obviously Haas designed, but all like the under parts of the car, majority of them are bought in Ferrari anyway.
Yeah.
So it's
are they all going to struggle again this weekend?
Potentially
at the Red Bull Ring.
It's a hard one. Obviously, Red Bull at the Red Bull Ring have been very strong. Was it Lando last year had some really strong that's when he did the triple overtake on the last corner, wasn't it, when he went to mode 7?
Yeah.
So obviously we know the McLarens that were strong here last year. Not a lot to change about the car, but better power unit. So I think Lando and Daniel could potentially have a really strong race here. You've got going back up. You got Valtteri. He had a strong race there last year, but obviously he's number 2 driver. They know he's probably out of the chance of running for points in the whole thing overall now. I know it's only
but
3 wins Max, 3 wins Lewis, but the Mercedes team just aren't helping him at all. He's just stuck there.
It made them look both like number 2 drivers at the weekend when they wouldn't let either of them go on a different strategy. I thought that was absolutely mental. And
Bottas asked for it. He was asking for the strategy change. He told them I want a 2-stopper, and they didn't listen to him.
And then even after Bottas had been overtaken by Perez, they wouldn't let Bottas pit for going for fastest lap.
But then you've got
to get a point
because they were hoping for Perez though, because they thought Perez overtook on 4 tyres off the track, and they're thinking to get like a 5-second penalty or a knockback grid placement. That's why their reasoning for keeping Valtteri out was. But part of me thinks that's bollocks, just because I think it's Mercedes trying to cover up their poor strategy that day. And hopefully trying to be like, it wasn't us, and they don't want to say Red Bull were the better guys. But even Toto in that post-match interview with Christian Horner shook his hand and was like, yeah, you got like Batman 1 kind of situation there. Like, it's a bit non-committal.
I think, like they said, that was on, like they said to Lewis, that was on them, that they lost the race.
Definitely.
100%.
It's Barcelona, but the other way around.
Yeah, I think Perez has stepped up massively. Like a few weeks ago, or a month and a bit ago, we were saying that, Perez really needs to get involved to help Red Bull be able to have 2 strategies. And you saw it. They were on the same page, because when Perez moved over to let Verstappen through, he even said, right, let's go get him. Like, Perez said that.
And Max on the radio back was like, oh, thank you very much, mate.
Yeah,
they were being really polite to each other. Which I don't know, try in the comments if you know this, but I know all teams can hear on radio, hence why the code word, but can drivers talk to other drivers over the microphones?
No, I don't think they're meant to be able to.
Unless it's team-based, if they relay a message through.
Oh yeah, they can say this person's saying this, yeah.
Because I don't know I know obviously you can't have Max go past, I don't know, Carlos be like, oh, you wanker over the microphone at each other.
Imagine if they could, they just start chatting
that would
shit.
be amazing. Oh, you get a Sally Grosjean's in the sport anymore, but you've seen him in the old press conferences, and Grosjean was the biggest shit out there, just stirring the pot constantly. But
Are we allowed to take our seatbelts off? Because Lewis does every time.
Literally, I'd love to hear that over the radios. But no, I was thinking more if they relayed the Max message either through comms, just like patch his microphone in, or it was like to the engineer, then across the checker. That was
I've definitely heard them do engineer to engineer before. Like they'll say, Lewis says thanks as Bottas is getting past him again for another time.
Yeah, or you did the Lando method of just waving to out the window saying, just do the hand signals in between cars. Yeah. But then obviously we were saying Perez, he's improved, and we were saying Daniel Ricciardo also improved. It's like the older a couple of races ago I was saying, I can't remember if it was your opinion as well, was the older drivers were struggling to get in form with the cars as fast as someone like Carlos Sainz, because Carlos Sainz has gone between a lot of different car companies quite quickly.
Yeah.
We got McLaren, he went Renault, now he's at Ferrari, and he hasn't got time to like get really baked into a certain style. Whereas Perez is Mr. Racing Point Force India, so that car was basically, he was really used to that car.
Yeah.
And the same with Daniel, Red Bull for all the way through Red Bull, all the way through that, and then Toro Rosso, Red Bull, two year stint at Renault, and now back into McLaren. So you've got this really harsh Red Bull. All your main F1 experience is baked from Red Bull, the hard braking, all that car. And then you get Tracy trying to unlearn and relearn stuff. Whereas someone like Carlos, he hasn't had like a long sprint in a car. That's like to get it proper baked into how you drive. So that's why you're seeing people come through like Daniel, and even at some point I'd say Seb Vettel.
I was going to say
Vettel
as well.
He's getting used to the car as well.
He seems a lot more comfortable with it.
Like I was saying, a couple of races, like give it like 10 races in, and we're getting up to that point now. And I think that's when you can start seeing these drivers that have come over proper start going for it. And then, obviously, even Pierre Gasly getting really confident in the AlphaTauri. He was confident last season, but his confidence has just gone flying through the roof.
Yeah, he's looking really strong in qualifying these days as well, isn't he?
They were trying to get out of him if he was going to go anywhere else, but she went, obviously, the Red Bull seat at the time. I didn't have a lot of time in that seat, and yeah, it was great. And, do you have any other offers at the table? He went, well, the phone's ringing, but I'm not saying if I'm answering or not, which is very tactical from Pierre there. I like the answer, because obviously, you don't want to be stuck in AlphaTauri for life. But
where would you go?
If he's beating Alpines at it, and Alpine would probably be the one that would come knocking, because they've gone, right, you're a Frenchman, we love French Alpine, knock, come on, Pierre. Who else should you go on the wall on, unless you've got someone, let's say, out of the blue, Haas come through with a screamer next year, because when they entered the sport and they bought the Ferrari parts, they were great. They're not focusing this year. And say Haas did have an absolute screamer and wanted to bin off, let's say, well, they couldn't bin off either driver, really. Even if another team comes through, I'm looking at the leaderboard now, there's nowhere that you could slot in as a Pierre Gasly, apart from sitting in an AlphaTauri seat. Unless Seb left Aston Martin, but I don't think he's going to do that anytime soon. And obviously Lance won't leave because his dad owns it.
Yeah.
Where do you see him fitting? Apart from a Williams seat when Russell goes to Mercedes next season, and Bottas disappears probably.
No, I probably agree with you.
There's nowhere else to go. That's why I think he's being quite secretive with it. The only thing that will probably sway his head if someone went, oi mate, we'll pay you like 3 times what you've got at AlphaTauri, but then just shows what kind of person he is depending on what he wants to do with his life.
Yeah, but do Alpine need another Frenchman? They've already got Ocon.
They love Frenchmen there. They got like Alain Prost, all that. They love French car, French company. Like, for example, when if I'm gonna say if not when, but if Russell knocks up a Mercedes, I know it's a German car company, but based in the UK, 2 UK drivers, very British, everything about it. Brackley even. Like they've got, they're a German car manufacturing company. Mm-hmm. Everything about that team's like two British drivers, two this, two that. And I think the strong that was Alpine were French, France, Renault, all that power, all that stuff. I think that's how it's going to could play out over there. But all in all, I thought boring middle of the race, very excited end, watching the Hamilton get chased down by Max, and then Max take him the last lap, and then obviously exciting-ish beginning with the Max mess up.
And also with the likes of, I think the beginning had a lot of midfield action going on, which at some points we weren't even allowed to bloody watch. They didn't show it. They had like the little screen in the corner saying like,
tiny little bit.
Oh yeah, another overtake by Ricciardo and Norris, and it's like, let's watch that. We don't need to watch just Hamilton.
You don't want to watch Hamilton
following
and Max just sat
Verstappen, yeah. But no, it was a good race. I was happily impressed, and hopefully this weekend delivers something similar.
Fingers crossed. Right, Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think down below. What's going to happen this weekend? I don't know. Chai doesn't know. But give us your opinions. Cheers.